So the question being, how has somatic work improved my life, the quality of my life? And, first of all, I'd just like to say with this type of work, it's often very subtle. And, that subtlety often comes in the sense of feeling or feeling the body. I can recall when I first started with this type of work, when I first started with bioenergetics and other body works like emotional release and emotional expression, that type of stuff. It took me about 6 months to realize that I just had more awareness of my body. I can really remember it as a distinct moment in this ongoing journey of that I could feel like for the first time in my life, I could feel my entire body. I'd never really been in my body. I was a very cognitive person. I still can be, a very mindy person, like living in the head. It really takes work to be in the body. But just having this experience, this feeling of being more in my body is really, truly life itself, which might sound a bit cringe or cliche or whatever, but life is really experienced in the body. Like we physically feel things in the body, we feel emotions in the body, we meet other people in the body, friendships, intimate relationships, whatever. We really meet the world in its entirety in the body. So it's a completely different way to relate to life. So it can completely transform how you or I experience life, and that has been true for me, that doing this work, continuously bringing my attention back to the body, making it a ritual that I feel the body more, that I live from the body more, then life becomes way more meaningful, it becomes way more rich, there becomes such a potency and a depth to any experience. And that's really the beauty, like when we're living in our heads, when we're in our mind, we're always trying to get the ideal self or the ideal image of life. And then we believe that that's what will bring us happiness. We believe that that's going to bring some satisfaction. However, what it does bring, if you do get that ideal, that sort of version of ourselves that we imagine ourselves to be, or we get money or a car or a partner or whatever, what it brings is a certain relief in the body. So even that in itself is a bodily experience, whereas when we work with the soma, when we work with the body, when we put the hours, days, years, whatever, into working in this way, bioenergetics for me and somatic meditation, also, every experience can have meaning. Every experience can have a potency. Every experience, it's not that every experience can be joyful and it's blissful, some people may have that experience. However, it's not that every experience is like that, but every single experience has its use, it has a meaning, we can have a relationship with it. And that brings a certain level of peace, that brings a certain level of fulfillment. So it's not like depression or anger or anxiety or whatever, regret, shame, guilt, there's a whole array of things that we can choose from. It's not like they are bad things. When we live in the body, they stop becoming bad experiences. I'm not saying they're pleasant or they're enjoyable, because they're actually not, and they can be really quite fucking brutal. However, they do have a meaning and they do have a pleasure quality in them, which is difficult to really explain, but if you work with the body, you probably know what I mean. Or if you're kind of a committed practitioner of this type of work, you understand that every experience that you or I have, you can build a relationship with it, and that changes everything. That changes everything. So there's never a dull moment. There's never a boring moment. Every moment is filled with something that adds value. That's something that adds value to your life. And it's deeply empowering. Like, there's such an empowerment to that, because you never really feel like, oh, I was never myself, or, I went on this date, let's say, or I went for this job interview, or, I didn't speak up, or whatever it is, like the regrets of the mind that we might have. going on. When you're in the body, you just meet yourself as you are. There isn't no best self. There's no such thing, you know. You are as you are. Like you're just here and in your experience, and that is changing continuously for every single person. Trying to idealize and hold on to a version of ourselves that is always flip-flopping and, you know, going around changing and whatever, always transitioning, impermanence, let's say, as the Buddhists say. It's such a fucking headache. It's an absolute nightmare, in fact. Trying to keep on to this, trying to hold on to this, should I say. Whereas working with the body, you're just continuously showing up for yourself as you are. And that is enough. That's the fulfillment, that's the satisfaction, what I just said, what I just talked about. So I really encourage people to go for it with this work and not be sidetracked by the mind's ideals and versions and aspirations and, you know, all that kind of stuff.